Today on New England Living, we visit a Rhode Island company looking to help put an end to global malnutrition. Then we take you inside a custom woodworking shop, giving discarded wood a second life. Plus, our chef series continues with a special ceviche recipe from one of Boston's rising young chefs. It all starts right now on New England Living. New England has a style all its own. The people, the history, the culture. Join us as we discover the faces and places, the design and destinations, everyone and everything that makes New England extraordinary. I'm glad I discovered it now. Love the place you call home with New England Living. Thanks for joining us today on New England Living. I'm your host, Rachel Holt. First up on today's show, we're traveling to North Kingstown, Rhode Island to learn about a local nonprofit making food that's saving lives around the world. Navin Salem founded Edesia in 2009 with one mission in mind: to end global malnutrition.
We make foods that save lives. And we do that through the production of ready-to-use therapeutic foods, which are basically like fortified peanut butters. Over our last 10 years, we've been able to reach 13 million children in over 58 countries. And whether that's overseas in Yemen or Somalia or Guatemala, or right here at home, we're looking at all of these children, all of their different needs and nutritional challenges, and trying to figure out if we can find a solution and a specific food that can fit their need. So I first got started because of my dad, and he's originally from Tanzania, as well as my great-grandparents and grandparents. I realized that children need food and nutrition, or we're at risk of losing them. And so decided to start a factory to create these foods and make sure that there was more access and availability to these foods all over the world. We ship to about 58 different countries. A lot of them are really driven by conflict and climate change.
We think about hunger here in the US, maybe not malnutrition as much. What's the difference between the two?
So in the United States, we deal with a lot of hunger issues, which is not getting enough calories. When you're talking about malnutrition, you're not getting the nutrients that you need. And the nutrients are important because we need to build the brains and the bodies. Because without that, we're going to lose cognitive ability. We won't be able to learn in school. And it also is the underlying condition to half of the reason that children under the age of 5 die. 13,700 children under the age of 5 will die today because they don't have access to food and nutrition.
Hi. We're gonna get you healthy?
I've been in a clinic where I see a child who comes in on week 1, day 1, and that child is unable to hold up their own head. They often don't have the strength to even cry. They're preserving all of that energy to keep their heart beating. And I think that's what creates that urgency and what creates the drive here to get up every morning, because people are depending on us.
This facility is running 24 hours a day. Give me an idea of how many ready-to-use packets come out of here daily.
We make about 1.5 million of these packets every single day. And we just added a new line that will add another 300,000. Our other customers are UNICEF and the World Food Program. And when they call, we want to make sure that we have product that can be delivered in a very short time frame.
Hearing how many products come out of here daily really gives you an idea of what the need is like right now. What's the biggest problem you're trying to address?
The biggest problem is there's nearly 50 million children who are suffering from acute malnutrition, so in the form of severe or moderate. And so that's a pretty big number. Out of the product that we make here, we're able to treat a little over 2 million of those children a year. So it's not bad, but there's still a lot of work that needs to be done.
And what about peanut butter makes it so good for the uses you have in place for it?
There's a lot of micronutrients hidden in these products, and so it's a great delivery mechanism to hide all of the not so nice flavors of micronutrients, and it also allows it to be shelf stable for 2 years. And when you're shipping to places like Yemen, you need that shelf life in order to be able to travel that far.
So the problems in the US and in the world are obviously very different, and you have international products here, you have US products, and how do they differ?
Yeah, so there's a lot of differences. One, in calories, a product like Plumpy Nut has 500 calories, which we know that American children don't need. We also have higher levels of fortification because we know in the US, kids are eating cereals that are already fortified, so we don't want to give too much. The sugar levels are very different. We have almost no added sugars here and plenty there because we need the energy for those children is actually beneficial. So we're looking at all of these different factors to figure out what is the best nutritional food that we can make based on who you are, where you live, and what your specific condition is. We have a ton of tours that come through here. School-age children of all ages come through. And so this is our little clinic where we teach them about how we weigh and measure children in the field. And actually one of the ways that we do that is this very small, easy to transport tape, which measures the middle part of the arm. And this works on any child under the age of 5. And so when you're measuring right here, this is the size of what a upper arm looks like for a severely malnourished child. It's very small, and so we want them to be closer to this. And what you can see is these colors here, red, yellow, orange, green, they match the colors of our products. So from severe to moderate to prevention. So we're trying to get these kids to move from red to orange to green so they're in a healthy state.
There's a test kitchen on site here. What's the purpose of that?
So we are always innovating and we have a long list of ideas. There's a couple things that we do. One is we're looking at our humanitarian products and how can we make them more cost effectively. If you're able to reduce the cost by 2%, 5%, that's a huge savings, especially at the scale that we're working on. And so again, if we're able to reach more children for less dollars, then that is absolutely important. But then we're also looking at, new flavors and also just new concepts in general, looking for where are gaps, what is not being met right now that we can perhaps make a new product that would serve a need to somebody.
You hire a lot of refugees. Why is that important for you?
It's not an act of charity to have diversity and former refugees here. It is a smart business decision. We have a team that comes from 26 different countries, and many of them are former refugees. If anyone can understand the problem that we're trying to solve here, it's people who have been in that situation before, who have needed and depended on food aid or international assistance before. That's what's really important, is looking for diversity, but also a population that can really connect to your mission and why you're here.
Andrew Camara, a former refugee from Sierra Leone, now oversees logistics and distribution for Edesia.
I left Sierra Leone in the late 90s during the wake of a brutal civil war. I have seen human suffering firsthand. I've experienced it. My two sisters and I spent multiple years in refugee camps in Guinea and Ghana prior to coming here. So to be part of a company that is making such a difference around the world, a company that is making life-saving therapeutic remedies for children that are severely malnourished, it was a dream come true for me. Because when I left Sierra Leone during the crisis, all I wanted to do was to figure out a way of giving back. We have folks that hail from over 26 different nations. The Edesia story can be told, in 26 languages. It's an amazing story. We all came from different parts of the world, but our stories are very similar. And I've been with Navy into the field many times. We've experienced the same things. We've cried together, we've seen kids dying together, and sometimes it's so painful to watch. And I know her heart when it comes to working to end malnutrition around the world. She leads by example, and the entire staff follows.
Princess, we gotta get you better.
I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure another child doesn't die of malnutrition. And that's the reward for me. That's the reward for well over 100 members of my staff here, because we know we cannot stop till we reach the next child that is at the verge of dying.
We can do something about this, and we must do something about this. It's our responsibility and it's our opportunity to be able to do this work and make sure that lives are saved today.
Coming up after the break, we're heading to Watertown, Massachusetts to meet a man taking authentic wood craftsmanship to a whole new level when New England Living returns.